Welcome to my channel, and I'm back with you once again with another video of Microsoft Flight Simulator. Today I'm going to do a review of the Fenix Airbus A320. Although many videos are already there on the YouTube, but I just wanted to do it for all the subscribers who are subscribed to my channel, and plus if you are watching this video for the first time and you are visiting my channel for the first time, I hope you'll find this video really useful. I purchased this plane few days back and I just really wanted to do some videos, but somehow I was just busy traveling to Pakistan and then coming back, and plus with my job I was really busy. Now this is the first weekend that I'm really free and I wanted to do a video for all of you guys. So if you are going to purchase this plane or you're making a decision, I think this video is going to help you out a lot. And if you want to explore the features, I'm going to explore them with you right now in this video. And plus if you have purchased this plane and you're still just trying to explore some features of this plane, I think this video is going to really help you. But if you're at a certain level of expertise and you know how to fly the planes, and if you've already purchased this plane and it's already installed and you're doing some flights, I don't think so this video is going to really help you out. But still, if you're here, thank you very much for staying with me, and it's really good to have you around. Okay, so right now I'm parked at the Lahore airport, which is Islamabad International Airport in Pakistan. I will be doing a flight to Islamabad. It's going to be a short flight, under 1 hour of flight. And here it is. And the cockpit of this plane is really good. Most of the features of this plane you can interact with. Just with the weather you cannot. Weather is one thing which is not available in the Microsoft Flight Simulator. If you are flying X-Plane 11, you can use the weather features in different planes. But somehow in the Microsoft Flight Simulator in other planes you cannot use the weather feature. Otherwise, all the features are working, and especially the top of descent and top of climb, which is not there in the Microsoft Flight Simulator in any plane. So this feature is there. So this is the one added feature which I really love, and the rest of the things they are also there in this plane. I can import the SimBrief flight plan, but before this, let's turn on the batteries. The sounds are really good, and everything works perfectly fine in this plane. Let's set the ADIRS to nav because it will take some time to be active. I think 7 to 8 minutes. Let's turn on the fuel pumps because I always forget them. So this is the best time to do it. And let's get the crew supply for the oxygen. The rest of the things are looking good so far. Okay, now let's start exploring this plane from the EFB, which is the electronic flight bag. And before I move further, I will take you to the settings and I will tell you how you can connect your SimBrief to your Fenix Airbus A320. So you can enter the SimBrief username over here, and plus you can also connect the Navigraph. Okay, and that's it. So let's get back to the main menu and let's import the flight plan. And just ignore this error because there is some difference in the time. Because this is my third or fourth time I'm recording this video. Every time I record this video, I don't know, there's some issue with the PC. It's crashing. So I hope this time it doesn't crash and I just go through this video. Okay, so this is the total flight overview, and you can see the weather for the departure, for the arrival, and for the alternate airport. You can see it from here, and plus the route you can see it over here, and you can view the map. Now the ground services are also available. You can interact with the ground services. Right now you can see the jetway is connected, but you can toggle it by pressing this button. GPU is connected as I've turned on the external power, so that's good. And I can remove the chocks. The front door on the left side is open because the jetway is connected, and plus you can also open the forward cargo and both the cargo doors. Sorry. Okay, so let's go out and let's look at this plane from the external side, and you can see the details are really good and it looks nice. It looks beautiful. I'm using the default livery for this plane, and there's also a livery manager. Just to add one more thing, once I installed this plane and I tried to use the livery manager, it worked fine. I got the liveries, but somehow when I was trying to do some flights, the simulator was crashing. Then I just removed all the liveries and I just used the default one, and it was working perfectly all right for me. It is, I think, working for the rest of the people as well. I don't know. I was particularly having this issue. I haven't read this issue on the internet, but I had this issue. So if you buy this plane and you install the livery and your simulator crashes, don't worry. Just uninstall the livery manager. Uninstall all the liveries and just use the default one. And I think your issue will be resolved. But if after installing a livery your simulator is working fine, then you don't have to worry about anything. So right now I can call in for the cargo and call in for the baggage service.
Ground Airbus November 320 Foxtrot Sierra. Could you please send the baggage?
Airbus November 320 Foxtrot Sierra baggage is on the way.
And I can also call in for the catering.
Airbus November 320 Foxtrot Sierra. Could you please send the catering truck?
Airbus November 320 Foxtrot Sierra. The catering truck is on the road.
For the first time in my life, when I was traveling to Pakistan last time, I think 2 weeks back, my luggage got delayed by 6 days, and this was the first time that my luggage was delayed, and it was a nightmare. I had to buy new clothes for myself. So every time now when I look at the luggage, it gives me like jitters. So always pray during your flight that your luggage is not missed or is not left behind. So the catering truck is about to be connected, and you can see the luggage will be loaded. So I can just now get back in the plane, and I can just review everything. So now I've done this, and plus you can also connect the tug from the EFB, and you can start and stop the pushback, and you can also set the direction left, right, or backwards or forward. Backwards, sorry, not forward. Okay. So everything is looking good so far. Let's now move to the FM. No, forgot to do one thing. Yes, which is the mass and balance. So you can see that you can load the aircraft from this tab, and the planned passengers, it's 162, which is the full. I've set it to full, and the planned is 4040, which is in kilograms, but in tons it will be 4 tons. And if I press load aircraft, you will see 3 options: real time, fast time, and instant. So if I go with fast, you can see the plane moving and the boarding is now completed. I'm just doing this to save the time. But if you have time, you can go for 27 minutes. Anyhow, one more thing over here in panel states, you will see that there are 3 states given: cold and dark, turn around with APU, and turn around with PCA. Once you purchase the Fenix Airbus A320 and install, the second option is activated automatically. It's turn around with APU. So every time when you load this plane, it will be already up and running from the cold and dark state with the APU connected and everything. You simply have to program the FMGS, and that's it. But I like to start the plane from the cold and dark state. That's why I've made this option as the default state. Although in Microsoft Flight Simulator, if you start your flight from the gate, the plane is already up and running is already in the cold and dark state. But for the Fenix Airbus A320, if you start from the gate, it's not necessary the plane is in the cold and dark state if any of these 2 options is activated as default. So you have to change the settings. So this is like another flexibility that you get in this plane. And for the sim settings, you can play around with these settings over here as well. Auto jetway simulation, it means that once the simulation is up, the jetway is already connected. Auto door simulation is also there. So you can just like change anything that you want, and from here. And I've shown you before that in the settings you can connect it to the sim brief, and you can connect it to Navigraph. Navigraph will be available over here. If you go to this option, you can import the flight plan from sim brief, so you don't have to switch back and forth to different browsers or use a tab or any other system for the OFP. You can just get it from here. Okay, you can get the weather briefing and OTAMs, and plus the documents. You have checklists. You can get the user guide for the Fenix Airbus A320, and you can get the checklist from here. Okay. So this is good. So now as everything is done, so I will now move to the Flight Management and Guidance System, FMGS, or MCDU, Multifunction Control and Display Unit. I can go to the AOC menu, and I'm just exploring these options. Flight initialization, which is for the airline. You can just get the flight initialization data. Flight number N320SB, which has to be entered over here in the initialization, N320SB. Okay, And you can also get the weather information. So let's say if I want to get the weather information for Lahore, I can simply type in here and I can select this option beta and I can press send, and plus I can also get it for OPIS. And let's see if I get this message. So load sheet is there. I can accept it as we did a quick load. So that's why the loading sheet is also there. I can accept it. And plus the weather for OPLA is there. And plus the OPIS weather is also there. So you can access it by this menu, the MCDU menu. Now let's go to initialization and let's do the initialization request. I'm not going to follow exact procedures. I'm just going through and exploring all the features which are there in this plane as quickly as possible, just to show you that which features are working, which features are not working, and the ones that are working, how good they are. So you can get the iris initialization, which is already done. You can get the wind request, and plus you can get the wind at different altitudes, which is there for the autopilot. You can see it's already there. And flight number, I can see it from, I forget it all the time. I think it's given here. If you go into the OFP N320SB, N320SB. So the flight number is there. Cost index is 15, not 155, 15, and cruising altitude is 250, which is 25,000 feet. Now I can go to the flight plan and I can go to OPLA. Departure will be from 18 left, and the SID will be 2D, and insert temporary. Then I can go to arrivals, and arrival will be 28 right, 1A. This is 1A. So the flight plan is there, and you can also check the flight plan. This option is working, it works in all the planes. So
Etihad 244 IFR to Abu Dhabi, ready to copy.
there is some plane coming. Okay, so now you can see that the flight plan is good, and I can go back to ARC, and I can go to over here in this page, init, and I can go for init B. Let's get the zero fuel weight and the center of gravity, and it's very good over here in this plane. You can get it from the EFB. This is the zero fuel weight, and this is the zero fuel weight center of gravity. So 61.1 and 31.1. 61.1 and 31.1. Block will be 5.7 tons, as you can see, 5.5. I can keep it as 5.6. Some error is coming. I'll see. 5.6. Okay. That's it. Now you can see all the calculation is automatically done.
Requesting the end of pushback.
And from here,
44 request to end pushback received.
I can go to the performance. The best thing about this plane Airbus A320 by Fenix is this, that you have the performance calculator for the takeoff. So you can select the runway 18 left, and
244 with Oscar ready to taxi IFR.
you can sync the load sheet, and plus you can
244 taxi 2 and hold short of runway tree 6 left via taxiway Bravo, cross runway 18 left Alpha. Contact tower on 118.875 when ready.
sync live weather. Let me see if I can turn this off. So once this information is entered, the load sheet and plus the weather, you can calculate the performance for the takeoff. So here is the settings for the flap, that is 1, and plus for the pitch trim for the takeoff, that will be down 0.3. So let's enter it over here. 1/ and 60 degrees. I remember once I started flying the Airbus, this main page was a very big challenge for me, because obviously I was not really familiar to the flight management systems, and plus calculations for this page were very difficult to find. I just saw one video and this guy explained it really well, but it just felt like a rocket science to me at that time, because he was using different mathematical formulas to do that. So then over a period of time I kept on searching for different performance calculators, and I just got them some online, and I have some information which is there on the internet. But the best part about this plane is this, that this information is already there. You can access the performance calculator and it will give you the takeoff calculations. Okay, and the speeds V1, VR and V2 will be 149, 149, 151. 149, 149, 151. Okay, so the transition altitude will be 4000. We will be changing the barometer to standard, and plus the thrust reduction is at 2212 feet. So this option is also there. So we have done the initialization B, flight plan, and plus the performance. Everything is now done. We can turn on the APU. Wait for 2-3 seconds to turn on the APU switch, and this is now the APU started. Let's turn on the beacon and set the strobe to auto. So everything is looking good so far, and plus most of the controls, as I told you before, are working fine, and they're up to the mark. Nothing missing so far. It's a nice steady level plane. If you are studying this plane, then I think this will give you a good guidance. And after installing this plane, I also had to study some articles over the internet in order to really understand this plane. So it really gave me some good insights into the flying into the flight, and plus the handling of the Airbus A320. So barometric pressure will be 29.59. Let's change the oops. If I'm not wrong, it's 29.59. So 29. Got this error because you have to adjust it for both the sides. Once done, you can see the error is removed automatically. So the APU is now available. I can turn on the APU bleed. External power can be disconnected. I can go to the ground services and let's see if any door is open or not. So this cargo door is open. Let's close this door and let's see if the cargo services are discontinued. Okay, everything is discontinued and all the doors are closed. The GPU is still connected. I'll just go inside and disconnect the GPU and ask the pushback tug to be connected, and then I will start the pushback. Let's release the parking brakes. And let's start it. I'm thinking I'll just change the runway to 36 right. Let's go over here, and instead of this I'll set 36 right as the departure, because it's a straight departure. It's better to do this. And let's delete this flight discontinuity. Sorry, let's go back. Let's finish the pushback because it's tricky. I have to just be aligned with this yellow line. Let's see if it works. Although there are some plugins available for the Microsoft Flight Simulator for the Pushback, but I use the default options because I really avoid using external plugins unless I'm really comfortable with it, because you don't never know which plugin messes up with your flight simulator. And as I'm doing a full-time job, so I just really get the weekends to make the videos. So that's why I cannot afford to have any issues. So parking brakes are placed, and let's start the engines. And let's see if I have any issues in the flight plan. So there is a discontinuity. Let's remove the discontinuity, and I think now it's all done. Thrust lever not at idle. Okay. Now the engine should start. Yes. And just to save time, I also start engine 2. The flight warning system, FWS, is really nice, which is a part of this Airbus, and the warning signs are really good. They're really helping me to learn how to fly. And trust me, this is really helpful. This feature is also there in this plane, the flight warning system. And every time you hear a chime, you can just go here and see what's wrong, and then you can fix the issue. Let's set to flaps 1, because this is my flaps configuration for the takeoff. Oh, sorry, flaps 1. You can see you can interact with all the systems, and you can arm the speed brakes. And plus, what if I speeds not inserted? Takeoff speeds not inserted. I have inserted the takeoff speeds. Let's see. Oops, it's not there. Now, see, auto brake set to max. This is a very nice checklist for the takeoff configuration. You can access it here. Auto brakes set to max in case of rejected takeoff, which is RTU in Boeing, and the brakes will be applied at max. And that's good. Okay. That's it. Seatbelt sign on, and smoking, no smoking on, and plus the exit signs for the doors is up. Okay, so now both the engines are up and running. I can switch off the APU, cut the APU bleed, and that's it. So you can see the functions in this plane are working really nice. Let's give a little bit of throttle. Now the plane is moving, and on the ground during the taxi, the handling is really nice. Let's go here, and during the flight I will also access this option of the Navigraph, and I will show you that how the graphs are being, Navigraph charts are being displayed. You can access them. The best thing, let's go here, and I'll show you another thing. You can import the flight plan from SimBrief, and if you go to OPLA, let's keep one eye on the runway and another eye on this EFB. Okay, so I will be turning left for runway 36 right. Now if you go here, you can see ground charts, and plus you can see airport briefing charts, and you can see parking stands, so you can access all these charts. Oops, I'm going off the runway. Okay. So this was just a demo, just wanted to give you during. As I told you before, I'm just exploring some options. I'm trying to keep it an open flight, not following the procedures so much, but this is not the right thing to do. You can see during the taxi, you can see your plane on the on these charts over here. You can see the blue cursor which shows the plane. As I'm turning on the runway, it is showing that I'm there on the runway. Okay, and as I'm fully aligned with the runway, you will see the cursor on the charts will show me on the runway. So during the taxi, it will really help you if you are taxiing in and out of the gates. Now I'm on the runway 36 right, so I'm just going to apply the brakes, and I'm just going to now concentrate on the flight. I'm just keeping the view like this because I want to keep an eye over here on this on the thrust lever, because first you will hear 2 clicks during the takeoff. First it will go to climb, and then it will go over here to flex, because I have entered the flex to temperature, or it's giving me toga. Why it's giving me toga? Okay, flex temperature I've entered, but it has disregarded it, so that's why I will go for toga. Toga is takeoff, and go around. So yes, this will be full thrust, so I will go with toga. So toga is good. As you can see, it's mentioned over here. So the guidance given in this plane is really nice. The details are really nice, which really helps you to fly this plane as per the rules. And this is your V1 149, and the target speed is 151 knots, which is V2. Sorry, 149 is the VR, the speed at which you will rotate, and 151 is the V2. Okay, so everything is good now. Let's give full thrust. Initially I should have set the thrust to 50% and then to 100 and to full or toga, but anyhow, let's take this plane up in the air and see how this plane flies. You can see the sounds, sorry, hear the sounds, not see the sounds. It's actually not the time to crack jokes. Okay, so this is VR, and let's take this plane up in the air slowly, initially at 10 degrees and then at 15.
Airbus 0, Foxtrot Sierra, you are not cleared to take off.
Okay. Positive rate of climb, gears up, and it's time to take the flaps back, and because we have already crossed the S speed, and I can engage the autopilot. So the plane is climbing to 25,000 feet. Now I've selected the engage managed mode, and let's reduce the thrust to climb. So now the thrust is set to climb. You can see the errors. Transponder is on standby. Let's turn on the transponder. By default, it is off in this plane. You have to turn it on. It's part of the checklist. As I was not following the checklist, that's why I just skipped it. Thrust lever. It's giving me today, I don't know why. I was doing flights before, but I was not getting this error. Okay, let's try one more thing. Thrust levers move. Now set. There is some issue with my controller, so don't worry about it. It's not the error in the plane. There's some issue with my controller. I'm facing it for the last few days. I think it's the time to change my controller. And as the light is very bright, I cannot see it. If I change, oh no. Anyhow, too much exposure. Okay, so that's it. And now the plane is flying, and if you go back over here, you can see the flight progress, and plus you can see the top of climb over here, which is set to 25,000 feet, and this is the top of descent. So all this information is given, plus you can also see the ETP. This is the point after which it's better to proceed further with the flight rather than turning back, because it will take more time. And if I turn on the constraints, you will see all the constraints at different waypoints. So this option is also there. So far everything is looking good. So you can play around with the transponder during the flight, and it's fully functional. I'm not using ATC for this flight because I just really wanted to have time with myself, not with the ATC, because then it gets very much confusing, and plus I have to turn off the radio so that I should not hear the radio communication of the other planes, because it's easy to talk to you guys like this. Okay, and you can see on the PFD all the information is coming correctly, and plus on the navigation display, now the top of climb has changed, because as the plane is changing its vertical speed, the top of climb is also changing. Now it's coming back as well, because the vertical speed reduced because a plane crossed the 10,000 feet mark, and the speed was supposed to be increased to 310 knots. So that's why this point moved. So it gives you very good insights into the flight, and you can really interact with it. During the takeoff, I couldn't tell you about the F and S and the other speeds, but during the descent, I will show you. They will come on this side with the speed, and plus there is also a vertical deviation dot which also comes during the descent. So it tells you that how much deviated you are from the calculated descent of the plane. So it gives you the deviation as well. Okay, now before we land, let's go to performance, and let's go to the next phase, and let's go to approach, and let's enter the approach information. So over here, if I go, I can see the arrival airport's weather, and the QNH over here is 1005. So let's enter 1005, and the temperature will be 24 degrees centigrade. So let's enter 24. Nice weather in Islamabad. I was there during the Eid vacations, and it was really nice. The wind, it has automatically picked up as we got the wind information, and plus for the barrow it's 1950. I know this because I've been flying a lot to Islamabad. So it's basically the height of Islamabad from the sea level is 1950 feet. It's there on in the airport charts. So let's go and access the airport charts, and we will see. So if I go here, and if I select OPIS and arrivals and approach, and if I go here to 28 right, can I see ILS 28 right? We can start these charts, and you can see the start charts. So you can select your favorite airports and your charts, and over here you will see it's 1950 for the ILS. It's height of Islamabad from the sea level 1950. This is DME4, DME1, and at this point Renix you should be at 3,700 feet, and mandatory 3,700 feet. So at this DME 6.1 you should be at 3,700 feet. So during the descent, I will set the descent altitude to be 3,500, or we can keep it at 3,000 to be on the safe side. because I will be descending on the managed mode, so that's why during the descent the plane will actually follow the constraints. As I told you before, it's not a tutorial, so I'm not going to get into the details. I'm just assuming that you at a certain level of expertise, but you haven't tried the Fenix Airbus A320, and before buying this plane, I assume that you're coming to the YouTube in order to see that which functionalities of this plane are available to you after the purchase. So that's why I'm not going into the details. I will be doing some tutorials in the next few days, so you can watch those videos and then you can learn even to fly, because I've been reading a lot. I've been reading different articles and watching different videos in order to actually learn how to fly this plane and how it's done by the actual pilots. So I think I've got some good learning experience, and it was really good. I really loved reading things about this plane. It's really interesting to read. So and plus, after buying this plane, obviously as there were so many options available, so that's why I decided to explore them, because obviously if I'm flying this plane and plus I'm doing these videos on the YouTube, obviously I should be really familiar with this plane, because as I told you before, I am not an actual life pilot. I have never flown a plane. I've just sat in the plane. It's the only time when I go to Pakistan I sit in these planes, otherwise I don't. And Airbus A320, 321, 319 and Airbus A320 Neo are the planes I've been taking a lot, because I've been flying through Etihad Airways, and they use the Airbus A320 and 21 on their legs to Islamabad from Abu Dhabi. And plus if you fly by Flynas, they also use Airbus A320 and plus the Gulf Air. So the Middle Eastern airlines, except for Oman Air, they're all using Airbus A320s and 21s and different variants. Initially, Etihad Airways also had Airbus A330, if I'm not wrong. They also had a 340. I got a chance to fly with that plane. But anyhow, it's Emirates has got 777s, and plus Etihad has got 787 as well. So this has been my flying experience with different airlines. But 321 and 320 have been a good plane. I've really enjoyed flying in these planes. And once I've learned how to fly them, I know the controls are really easy. It's really easy to fly. Although the Boeing 737 is also a nice plane, but I find it more easy. As a pilot, if I was flying, I would have loved to learn how to fly this plane, because the controls are really simple. They are very easy, and it's very nice. You can see over here on the PFD, this area is known as the FMA. Okay, and the FMA, you get all the information, and FMA stands for Flight Management Enunciator. So you get all the flight management information over here. Right now the speed is at Mach, and the plane is leveling off at the altitude, and the navigation is green, which is mean that it's controlled by the autopilot. The minimums is decided based on this altitude. It is basically minimums is the altitude at which the pilots can still decide to do a go around, but after the minimums you have to land. Minimums, I think in Islamabad is at 200 feet. For different airports it's different, but for Islamabad it's 200. So once I'm landing at Islamabad International Airport, you'll hear the autopilot saying minimums. Okay. Autopilot 1 is engaged, flight director 1 and 2 is active, and plus the plane is flying on auto throttle. It's engaged. Soon I will be reaching the ETP point, which is if I want to go back due to any issues, this is a good point to go back to Lahore. But after this point, it's not advisable to go back from this point. So it's a nice indication over here. And this is the point from where I will start the descent. This is known as the top of descent. So before the top of descent, I will just select the altitude over here. As I told you before, I will keep it at 3000. Don't worry about this, because the plane is going to descend as per the information given in the flight plan. So all this information is given here. So the plane will actually follow this. And you see this these magenta stars over here, which actually tells you that the autopilot will be able to manage all these altitudes and all these constraints and the speeds and everything. So if it's not able to do it, then it's not in magenta color. So it means at this level the plane will be able to get to 250. And plus there is a deceleration point at after C12RY. Before F12RY there is a deceleration point. It will be shown as D over here. I think this is the one. This is the deceleration point where the plane will start to decelerate, and I will activate the approach phase, in which the plane will start to reduce the speeds, and I will take the flaps. So this is some basics. I'm just showing you that this information is also coming. Okay, so let's go to progress and let's enter the destination airports information over here. OPIS. '28, right. Now it will give you the distance to the airport. It's 75.7, but it's in a straight line. So if you draw a straight line from here, then it is 75 or rather right now 74.4 nautical miles. But if you look at the flight plan, it's 90 nautical miles, because there are two turns, a right turn then a left turn. This is a good option to have in the progress, because at 6 DME or 6 nautical miles from the runway, you have to lower the gears, and you have to get the full flaps. So that's why it's good to have this information over here. Otherwise, if I go to the flight plan, I'll see if you can see it over here. Okay. So this information is given over here after the deceleration point, the glide slope minus 3.0 degrees. This is for the slope for the ILS, and you can see the ILS frequency is already entered, and you can also cross check in the chart. 110.7 ILS DME. So this information is there. Okay, I hope I have not missed the top of descent. Now the top of descent is crossed, and I can press this button and the plane will start to descend towards the destination. You can see the beauty of this plane, the Fenix Airbus A320, that everything is working so nicely and so good. Okay, so you saw this arrow with the zigzag, which shows you that at this point the plane will actually start to follow the descent profile as calculated by the FMGS. So right now we are above the given altitude. We have to increase the vertical speed, which has been increased by the autopilot, in order to bring this dot in the middle. This is the vertical deviation. You can also see it in the progress. This is the vertical deviation, 136 feet above. So we are above the given path. It's increasing. It's constantly increasing. 247 feet. Anyhow, the autopilot will manage it, because this thing is happening because I started the descent slightly late. But the autopilot will try to manage it. So we are slightly above. Speed is not reducing as the vertical speed is increased. This is the point now as calculated by the flight management system, that from this point the plane will start to follow the descent profile, and it's coming back. So the plane will make it. It will not be an issue. And if you even look at this flight plan, you will see that this information is coming with the magenta stars. It means that the plane will manage to follow these constraints during the flight path. So you can see all these options are working perfectly all right. These options are available with us, and the vertical deviation is increasing. I hope it's controlled, otherwise I have to do it manually. 338 feet above the given flight altitude as per the descent profile. Let's just go out of the plane and let's see how it looks like from outside during the flight. Amazing views. I like this view a lot. Wow. Such a nice machine to fly. You can see the mountain ranges of Jhelum. And coming from Lahore, you cross these mountain ranges. You can see it's cloudy in Islamabad. Let's get back in the plane and let's see if the vertical deviation is has reduced. It's 307 now, because you know right now the flight management system is calculating that at this point the plane will meet its descent profile. I hope it meets its descent profile. Otherwise definitely it's going to meet it over here, because over here the plane speed has to reduce. So once the speed reduces, the plane can further increase the vertical speed in order to reduce this vertical deviation. So these are the good indicators which are just coming over here. And plus, as I told you before, the plane will first descend to 3,700, which is flight level 37, as this altitude is as per the constraint, and this 3,700 is over here, 3,700 at this point. So plane will actually level off at 3,700 at this point, and then further start its descent after this point. But I will activate the approach phase before this the deceleration point, and hopefully everything will be good. Now you can see the vertical deviation is reducing. It's 217 feet, so the plane is managing, so it's good. Otherwise there is another way of doing it. Right now I'm not just touching the controls, because it's just to review, not a tutorial. I'm not teaching how to fly or telling you guys how to manage this thing, but somehow it will be managed. We still have some ground to cover, so nothing to worry about. And now you can see that all the functions are working, and plus the accessibility to the navigational charts in the AFB is an added value. You don't have to worry about downloading them and then loading them in your tab or some other device. You can simply load them over here and you can access them. Now you can see that the vertical deviation is almost coming to 0, 41 feet, 34. This is like if it's between these two yellow lines, then it's under an acceptable threshold. So as you can see now that that zigzag arrow has disappeared, because now the plane is actually following the descent profile as per the calculation of the FMGS. It's time to change the barometric pressure from standard to the given one, and in Islamabad it will be 1005. So let's change the units and let's set it to 1005. This is actually done for the proper calculation of the altitude. As soon as you change the barometer, you see the altimeter changing, so it's set to 1005. So you know the altitude is calculated as per the barometric pressure, so you have to do this adjustment. The plane is now crossing 10,200. Let's go out and let's have a look at Islamabad and the plane also. This is a nice and a beautiful view. Okay, so now we again have some deviation as the plane is reducing the vertical speed in order to reduce the speed to 220 knots. Let's see if the speed is reduced. The vertical speed should reduce, and the plane then should reduce the speed. Now it's coming down. This is the green dot speed, the optimum speed, and the clean configuration. As you can see, this option is also coming over here. So as I told you before, this is a very nice study level plane, and you can just conduct some good studies on this plane while you're flying it, and you can see all the options are coming in. So this is green dot is for the clean configuration, and I can have flaps 1 over here. As you can see, after 230 knots I can have 1 flaps at configuration 1. So what I can do is this: I can take the flaps so that the speed is reduced further. Now you can see that another speed is coming over here. Now S is started to show, which means that you can take slats at this speed. And this is now the maximum speed, but with the flaps, not with a clean configuration. So at this point I should be above 5,000 feet, not below 5,000 feet. This is one of the constraints. Let's turn on the LS, and what I'll do is this: I will go with the selected mode. I will set it to 1000, and I will increase the vertical speed, because I'm slightly high on the altitude. So instead of the manage mode, now I have using the selected mode. I can also now activate the approach phase. The speed will further reduce. And as you can see, now the speed is approaching towards S, and over here I can take flaps to configuration 2, or take 2 flaps. I can take it right now to control the speed. This was an error for the overspeed, but now the speed is under control. So you can see these options are working perfectly right and nicely, but I'm still high. Sorry. Let's increase the vertical speed so that my altitude is good, and then I will try to reduce it. I'm very bad at landings. Today, after missing the top of descent, everything didn't go well, but got an opportunity to explore all the options. It's good. As soon as this diamond is in the middle, I can then go with the managed mode.
2,500.
Now in the manage mode, now the plane will automatically descend towards the runway, and I think it's time to activate the approach, and plus 6 nautical miles away from the runway I can get the gears down, and with this I can take the flaps. Let's turn on the lights because it's dark. Strobe was set to auto. Let's leave it there, and let's turn on the wing lights, and let's set to taxi. Now the speed is also in the control, and plus the runway is coming. If my landing is not really good, kindly excuse me for that. Coming in for ILS category 3 single MDA 1950. So it's going to be an ILS category 3 approach. You can see we are perfectly aligned with the runway. Let's go out and let's see what's happening. Wow, it's really nice in Islamabad. It's cloudy. Nice. So not only I've managed to reduce the altitude, but also I have been able to control the speed. Now you can see runway 28, right? And it's raining in Islamabad right now. Beautiful weather. I'm really missing it. 1,000 feet to go. I will not turn off the autopilot till the time I'm really comfortable, because it's right now the visibility is really low, and I don't want to take any risk in this video because I don't have the patience to do it again. So I hope you like this review of this plane, and I've tried to explore all the options necessary for the flight, and you can see all the options are working fine except for the weather, because in the Microsoft Flight Simulator weather doesn't work. I don't know why. Everybody is waiting for it. Hopefully soon we'll get this weather option in the Microsoft Flight Simulator, and we will be able to see the clouds and everything on this navigation display. So with this, I'm just 100 feet above the ground. You will also hear minimums.
Minimum.
Yes, minimums. And I've engaged the autopilot.
40, 30, 20, retard.
Reverse thrust, it's working. I just forgot one thing. While I was managing the descent, I think I gave too much reverse thrust. Let me just take you through that. Yes, one thing that I really forgot. Let me just stay on the runway and just apply the brakes. I remember, I just recalled this because I forgot to get the auto brakes low or the medium, because it really helps you during the landing. And plus over here in this tab, if you go here, you will also see the landing performance. I didn't do this landing performance, but it gives you a nice calculation that how much brakes are required. So let's say if the runway condition was medium and the weather, I cannot get the weather information right now. Anyhow, you can just get the weather information, and you can set the brakes, and plus the plane will then calculate the distance required to stop at the runway. This is what you can do with this landing performance calculators. You can also use this option, and with this you remember to activate these brakes. Anyhow, I just managed to stop, and you can see the flight warnings: slats not to take off, flaps not in the takeoff position, because I just was in the full throttle and I just removed the reverse thrust. You can see the reverse thrust, it works fine, and if I pull my thrust forward, it gives you like this. But I cannot simply remove my hand from this, because it just then goes forward. So you have to get the reverse thrust, and then you have to actually bring it here and then release it. So this is something really good in this plane. I hope you like this video, and I've tried to cover all the points. If anything is missing, do mention them in the comment section. If you've got any questions, do ask me. I try to answer all the questions as much as I can. If I don't, please accept my apologies in advance, because I at times have a very busy schedule and don't get the time to answer all the questions. If you've got a positive feedback, you're more than most welcome to put them in the comment section. Thank you very much for staying with me. Hope to see you soon.